He knows what happens because that's up to me to write notes, and I'm not real good at that. As you can tell, I like to talk. So, but yeah, thank you, Mike. Sorry I missed you first time. So, also, you saw the summary that's put in front of you. I didn't even put in there with all the work that we do that we actually fund local agencies as well, but we've been branching out and doing a lot of other work, and we couldn't do it without the support of everybody. One of the things I wanted to highlight is been working with Linda, and actually, thank you to Ryan for introducing Linda and I to really connect with this and bring what's called Talking is Teaching panels to the city of Greendale. That'll be at the park system. Those are on order, and hopefully they'll be showing up soon with installation later in the summer. But those are boards that it's really for parents and for children 0 to birth to 5, so they can go and they can use them and learn what those milestones are. There'll be QR codes on it that take them, drive them to a Success by 6 website, which United Way of Greater Cincinnati upkeeps. It'll be new and refreshing materials for those parents and children to get engaged and learn. Linda requested a few more so she can rotate them around through the parks, which is a great idea. So that regardless of which park you're at, you can kind of see different panels or you can go and visit them. And we're actually hoping to even expand that across the county. But that was through a grant that we were able to receive through Early Learning Indiana. So very exciting, and that will not be cut with all the changes that are happening, just so you know.
Did you say it's Talking is Teaching?
Talking is teaching. Yeah. And there's some other programs in there, and like I said, I'll keep it short and sweet and just talk about that one. But if you have any questions for me, I would love to entertain them. So, but thanks for having us tonight and your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody?
Historically, we've given $1,500. I don't know
Okay.
if anybody mentioned that.
Step up.
Well, I'm just looking to see how much we got left.
Okay.
So yeah, 750 would have to come from
The
the
mayor's.
regular donation.
Oh,
and the
yes.
rest from the-
Yes.
There we go.
Then I'll make that motion. We donate $1,500 with $750 of it comes from the mayor's fund.
Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Second. We have first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Yep. All good work, thank you. Okay, we have an application for a merchanting business license. This was a young man who came in a couple weeks ago. Josh Peterson, he's doing heating, HVAC work. Super nice guy, young guy. And I asked him, I said, what made you want to go out on your own? He said, well, all the old guys that used to do this work are gone. So he's like, I'm like, there's definitely a void. I know that firsthand. So good for him. We wish him the best. So I'd like to.
I'll make a motion we approve the business license for Josh Peterson.
Okay, got a first. Do I have a second? Okay, got a first and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Is he operating in Greendale?
No, what is he?
It's on Kaiser.
He's on Kaiser, but he will work in Greendale. That's why he filled out this. He didn't have a.
Doesn't have a business in Greendale?
Other than he's going to do work at residential work in Greendale.
He just needs an Indiana license then, don't he?
Yeah, unless he's gonna be saying, what, is he gonna be sending mail to his home and like this address? That's what I was gonna ask.
I don't know.
I wasn't hearing.
Well, I mean, our code only requires a license for businesses that are located in Greendale.
Okay, well, he was under.
We don't have a requirement for,
Okay.
And we could, in some places do have requirements for entities that are doing business in Greendale, which he may have thought we had, which is fine. But I just
Okay.
wanted that clear.
I'll reach out to him.
Yeah, if he has like a brick and mortar, right? But if he's just working from
He's
his
just
car
working out,
home.
probably out of a van.
So do we need to refund his application fee?
I mean, we don't have a
Yes.
requirement that he has a license, so I wouldn't charge him the fee for that.
All right, we'll take care of it. All right.
We need to update the application too on those, by the way. Bailey's still on there. So is Angie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I just saw that.
More to your agenda over there.
The last page.
I'll put it on my list.
Yeah. All Okay, redevelopment. Mike, would you like to give an update?
Yeah, on 132 Ridge, I think we told you the original award went to a company that could not satisfy all the requirements. Reached out to the second lowest bidder, and they will begin demolition on that house Monday, July 21st. On the soft watch program, we had eight new bills to be paid, so that brings us up to 28. I know they're doing quite a few right now. For those who've driven up and down Ridge, the infamous Blue House has been done and looks very nice.
It does.
Looks very nice.
Yep.
So,
Does look nice.
I just emailing with Fish. They're quite busy right now, so I have a feeling we'll get more. So if there's any way, I mean, we have up to 152 potential residents, so Anthony and I spoke about maybe we'll send another letter or something like that out to the people that perhaps the word will start getting out a little bit more on that. The KPG, the new apartments, they're working through city approvals and completing financing and bond. They still expect to break ground this year. And at that point, that's it.
All right, wonderful, thank you. Okay, Chief?
The police report for the month of June, we had a total of 418 calls for service, which brings the year-to-date to 2,743. 9 traffic citations were written. Year-to-date on those is 119. 10 criminal arrests were made. 2 of those were OWI arrests, and our OWIs for the year-to-date is 55. 10 traffic crashes. Year-to-date on traffic crashes is 33. 23 new case reports were opened, which brings the year-to-date to 191. Trainings for the month, Officer Austin Donnerworth attended the DRE training in Indianapolis. That's an acronym for drug, what is it? Drug recognition expert. He's doing that, and then Detective Morgan Henderson attended the new detective and criminal investigator training in Columbus, Ohio. And that is all we got.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, Ryan, Greendale Main Street report.
Well, I want to echo what Karen said about Mike's skills as a secretary. So he's our secretary as well. It's fantastic.
Mike wears many hats, he's
Right.
pretty talented.
They do come in the next day.
It's fantastic.
Johnny on the spot.
Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. So, but we are finally, I think we caught our breath after 4th of July and had the bike parade. Worked with OVS to supply T-shirts for all the kids. We gave out about 125 T-shirts this year, which was more than we gave out last year. So we had quite a bit more kids riding. Worked with police department, fire department, making that happen. It was great. And then we got a grant from NDOT for bike helmets this year. They donated 100 bike helmets and backpacks to us that we distributed at the bike parade this year, which is really cool to be able to make sure kids are riding with helmets on. Then we also had the beer garden and just a bunch of volunteers, some new people stepping up to volunteer this year. So it was really nice to have those new faces out there serving in the community. We're working on our office move. We have had the house painted at 512 Ridge, ceilings, walls, and hallway, living room, kitchen, entryway. And then we had some furniture donated from Lawrenceburg schools and have internet hooked up there. So we hope to have we're going to have our first board meeting there on Monday. So excited to be moved in there and using that place, freshening it up a little bit. Got the curb appeal grant going. We have 6 homeowners that'll be reimbursed that have put in for requests this week, and just keep sending that money out to people. So we're in. Also, stellar work is progressing, and not really much to add other than we're moving forward with that.
Good. Okay. Anthony, you want to give an update on the UDO? Are we solid?
Yeah, we passed the UDO. Planning is currently considering an amendment, a small amendment to the UDO, and that I think will come to this board in August. That's the only update I have. I don't know if this this group wants to keep that on this or take that off the agenda. I don't see a purpose to keep that on here.
Okay. We can just strike through it. Okay, only other thing that I have to add to this, Richard Stoyer, handed me his resignation letter last week. He is moving to Morrill to help with his father-in-law. So, best wishes to Richard, and we'd like to thank you for all he did. Okay, Anthony, do you have anything in your report?
Working on several ordinances to bring back to the board. And I did want to mention that I spoke to, I had a meeting with the auditor and the county attorney about the stormwater fees, and I can discuss that under unfinished business if you want.
All right, we will do that then. Okay, you want to take the first one, sale of the Oki lot, please?
I believe that we tabled this last meeting. The board got an appraisal on that lot for $14,500. We advertised it for a minimum bid at that amount, and the only bid received was for $500. I did review the statute, and it says that you can negotiate with the bidder if the board chooses to do that, or you can just reject the bid. So it's up to the council what you want to do.
But keep in mind, part of their bid to purchase involved removing the concrete. That is part of the deal. So, and
How's that enforced?
What's that?
How's that enforced?
It would be in the purchase contract.
And if they don't, how's that, like?
Good question.
This one's probably back.
Thanks.
No, I mean, there would be a clause in there that the property would revert back, and then, you would have to enforce that there. If they didn't voluntarily do it, then you would have to have litigation or something.
So currently, I know I asked you guys months ago to go drive by it, but right now it's busted up concrete with rebar sticking out of it that is a safety hazard that is owned by the city and is generating no taxes. So,
So we can recommend negotiation with them, or?
That's a big difference.
well,
I mean, the appraisal saw the slab.
what's that?
Well, the appraisal took into account the condition of the property.
I don't know, man.
What can be, I was, what can be built on there? What can actually be built on that little slab?
Well, if a neighbor owns the property, then.
Right, but I'm just saying, if somebody besides the neighbor purchases it, then they're gonna.
There's nothing to do.
It's, in my mind, it's not worth near what the appraiser came.
I agree with you.
I think it's,
I think it's worth more than $500.
Yeah, I
though.
do too.
well, but
think we were all
now wait, time
dumbfounded
out.
at that
It's
amount.
$500 plus the cost to remove it and put it back to grass. So it's more than the $500. So let's keep that in mind.
How long have we had this thing?
20 years?
Not going away.
No. It's going nowhere quick.
I'd be happy with $500, just get rid of it.
The motion?
Yeah, but the other neighbor, thought the minimum bid was $14,500.
Okay.
If you're
Well,
the other neighbor.
so what do you
find
want to do?
out
You want to
that
open it up to any and all bids?
I'm just letting the council know that the other neighbor who didn't bid, and this lot is directly behind their house,
Oh,
is going to find out that the board sold it for $500, and you advertised it for $14,500.
Well, let's put it back out.
Well, he said he'd negotiate, why don't we just?
Well, why don't we put it back out?
They still didn't bid though, the whole.
Right, that's his point. Let's put it back out, no minimum bid, but the concrete still has to be cleaned up. Is that fair enough? You guys go with that?
So we
Yeah, I
just
didn't know anything about that
re-advertise
other
it
neighbor.
for sale?
I'm sorry, Ryan.
We re-advertise it for sale?
Yes, agreed,
For bid or for sale?
for bid.
Yeah, for bid.
The highest bidder? Yes.
With the caveat still that it has to be cleaned up.
Concrete removed.
Yeah, sealed bid, let them figure it out.
So why did the other neighbor not know that it was,
Oh,
They
Shows
don't
a
think they
minimum
wanna
bid of
spend $1,400.
they were?
I see what he
The
said.
minimum
Yeah.
bid was 14, so he probably didn't
Yeah.
want to spend 14, so.
Well,
Not
plus,
maybe.
plus the removal. So,
And maybe they still won't. We won't know until.
Question, Mayor.
yes, ma'am.
If the advertised minimum bid was $14,000, why
Well, hoping like somebody, I would make that motion, accept the $500.
Well, let's take the requirements off of it, let's take the minimums off of it and see what happens. Again, to this day, it's sitting there as a liability to the city, as I see it.
If I wanted to extend my backyard that much, I'd pay $14,500 for it.
Alright.
That's a big lot.
Yeah, but again, we still have it, I don't want it.
But we don't wanna give
But I
it
think
away.
it's worth more than
I think it's more,
$500.
Well, then
I
let's-
would say
It's
let's
worth more
rebid.
than
Let's take the minimum off and rebid it.
So do we put a new minimum on it?
Oh, I don't.
More than 500.
Yeah, they'll just do 500 again.
Well, but
This
not,
year, no, that's
you know, now the other, if there's no minimum, the other person may step up, I don't know, right?
And is it said that only an adjoining property owner can
Right.
purchase it?
That's how we advertised it. And the reason is that otherwise, no one could build anything on that property.
Right.
You can't have an accessory structure without a primary use in Greendale.
Mhm.
And you can't build a house on it because it's not located on a street.
We've had it for 20 years, what's another couple of months?
Sure. Yeah, right.
Just 500 just seems.
Okay, well, what do you wanna do?
I'm gonna rescind my motions, I didn't know about the other one.
Okay, all
I
right.
didn't know about the other
Alright,
one.
well, I assumed that, you were
Die
gonna
for
do that,
failure of assent.
alright.
The easiest option would be to auction the property.
You mean have an auctioneer come in
Well,
and have two people standing there?
that's what I was thinking. Then we gotta pay the auctioneer.
Yes.
And we're paying the auctioneer a fee then.
Right.
Might as well get it on video.
I just like to get it gone.
Buy it.
No,
Oh my
I
God.
want no part of it. No, I want no part of it. Anyway, yeah, that'd be adjoining property owner. What do you guys wanna do?
Anybody?
I mean, should we just advertise it again?
No minimum?
Well,
But with the caveats that the concrete has to be removed.
That's gotta be in there.
It's gotta be in there, I agree. That's the whole purpose of this exercise.
Well, if it's no minimum, somebody could come with $1 and say that, you know.
Can we require they put the money up front, like an escrow, to remove the concrete?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Is that realtor any?
Right.
So based on the bid requirements, we have two potential bidders?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be a motion, somebody.
Okay.
I'll move that we do that.
Would, to be specific.
Just whatever we all talked about.
Well, let's be specific.
So that we advertise it for sale with no minimum bid, with the requirement concrete needs to be removed
And yard restored.
yeah, whatever it was before.
Yeah,
Concrete
right.
removed, yard restored, but they have to put, what, 10,000 in escrow to remove it? That's released once the work's completed? Or is that, yeah, I don't, 5,000. I'm just throwing a number out.
Okay.
If it's valued at 14,000, you can put 10 grand up.
So that's the motion.
I'm just saying what I've heard us say. Mike's got a
Sounds like a
motion on.
motion.
That's
Okay,
a
so
great
that gonna be your
motion,
motion?
Ryan.
Now, I'll let Ryan do the motion in a second.
Okay, go ahead, Ryan, make the motion.
That we advertise a lot for sale with no minimum bid and requirement that the concrete's removed, the yard restored, and $5,000 placed in escrow until completion of that work at
Got it.
sale.
Okay. We have a first, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a first and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any nays? Okay, motion carries, thank you.
We still have it.
What's that? We still have it, exactly. Okay. All right, ordinance 2025-04, establishing a municipal stormwater utility and authorizing the collection of stormwater utility fees. We tabled this at the June meeting, and here we are again in July. Anthony?
I met with the auditor about this on Monday, and I think that this is going to be possible to do beginning next year. And she's working through a couple issues about collection if people don't pay the stormwater fee that's attached to their bill, and working on implementation issues. She's going to a conference in July and said that she would have more details. The one thing that she did say is that she would need an Excel sheet of the rates per parcel so that she could put those in her system by September or October this year to begin that by next year.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we are.
And it's tabled again.
Yeah.
So it's the
So-
board's pleasure what you want to do.
When will she have it, when will she know for a fact? Are you saying after August, after this?
I think we will be 100% by the next board meeting.
Okay.
But,
So will all those numbers need to be readjusted then?
yeah,
Since
'cause we're gonna have to have the company readjust.
it was
We're
billed
doing-
like per meter before, right? And now
Yeah.
we're doing per parcel.
I still think it should be tied to the utility bill, but.
I can ask Structure Point if the numbers need adjusted.
Okay.
We can type the utility.
Because what we looked at was based on meters, right? So
Correct.
that's gonna change
Right.
if we're doing per parcel.
Well, what they looked at was the amount of impervious surface versus the amount of money we have to collect.
Right.
The rate that they came up with, I understand what you're saying, but I don't know that it necessarily is going to change.
Okay.
So,
Because
It's
I
just
thought
the
they
way
were
that it was
billing,
collected.
like there's a fee on a property, right? But based on impervious surface. And then that was going to be billed to each utility customer, right? So if I have a triplex, each person's gonna be billed the same amount of money. And,
But it's more than just, you have to look at it more than just where they live. It's maintaining the roads and,
Right.
and street sweeping and, oh, Alan's not here, but.
yeah, I
I
understand what
understand
you're
all that,
saying.
like-
I understand what you're saying is that, and I don't know for a fact that they included every meter at the residence
okay,
or just the parcel. So I have to find that out from them to see if the rate needs adjusted.
All three of them should be
paying
Well, we know some things are gonna be
It's more than that.
adjusted, because
Multi-factor.
Linda, we talked about the Greendale Housing Authority, they
Yeah.
each are metered.
right.
But now they'll have to go and calculate their roof size, the parking lot. They probably already had that in their program, but then
Well,
Greendale Housing Authority would be charged that amount, and they can decide how they.
Are you a not-for-profit?
Yes,
You pay taxes, property taxes?
we pay in lieu to the city of Greendale, if we have any money. We do not pay property taxes per
So,
se.
so you won't be collecting any money from them?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah.
How would you do it if it's going to the,
Well, even a church pays a utility bill.
I know, but again,
But if
it's
it's
on
on-
property
It's going on
taxes.
the tax bill.
The county will send a tax
They
bill.
will bill.
They'll send, yeah.
Okay, they'll bill them separately, even though they don't receive property tax
Like
bills.
Greendale will get a tax bill from the county as well.
Okay, got it. Okay, it's good to know.
So it's whatever this board wants to do. If you want to do users through the utility or you want to put them on the tax bills, I just need some direction.
I prefer the tax bill.
I prefer the tax bill, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I mean, Becky, I can't imagine the work it would take.
Yeah.
How much of our staff, and then trying to get people who don't pay? I mean, how do we follow a renter?
Yeah, and I think that was what we
I would,
concluded last time that we talked about this. How would you guys implement it?
I think if the county's willing to do it, which we know they're doing in other Indiana counties this way, correct?
Yeah.
So
Is
why
there a
would we
fee
not?
for this?
That's what I was gonna ask.
The county has a fee for adding assessments onto the tax bill. Right now, it's $15
That'll be passed along to the.
per year. That would,
Per parcel?
yeah, per parcel. I have not got a confirmation if that would be the same for stormwater or not. But that's what they charge for anybody to put an assessment on taxes. So like if the city does a sewer lien or anything like that, that's what it is.
H?
One more time about how you don't tax the churches if they don't get a tax bill.
It's not a tax, it's a fee that the county
And
would
the
pass
county,
on.
the county will make that assessment.
They will still get, they'll get a May and November.
The county assesses property regardless. And they non-bill like the city and nonprofits because their taxes are zero, but they're still in their system. So if there's an assessment or there's a lien, they would get that, they would get a bill. It just is not, it's not a tax bill. It just shows an additional assessment.
And they still get a statement every year, whether we do that or not. Like, there's still a statement from the county that comes to the nonprofits that own property. So it would just be added to that, would be my guess.
So you're gonna have the MS4 fee, and then I assume $7.50 each half of the year, right? We're gonna add, the county's gonna add that to it. Okay.
Takes work out of our hands.
Okay. So, do you guys want Anthony to keep going down this road? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's two.
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Okay. Anthony, proceed.
All right.
Okay. All right, Lawrenceburg Bond Bank Agreement,
We would just ask that this be tabled until next meeting.
okay?
So moved.
Second.
Got first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, new business. Resolution 2025 dash, was it Becky 04? 12?
What about bond bank?
Bond bank we just tabled.
Yeah.
Oh, table bond bank.
Yep. Resolution 2025-12, authorizing land transfer of Valley Woods Lake and the attached undeveloped parcels to Greendale Redevelopment Commission.
Does my resolution say that? Oh, just to clarify, and we should change this. Okay, the resolution is actually titled Resolution Authorizing Land Transfer to the Greendale Redevelopment Commission. I want to verify this board is not transferring Valley Woods Lake to the Redevelopment Commission. We're only transferring the parcels that are in Exhibit D to Greendale Redevelopment Commission.
Yeah, I picked that up.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
That was my fault.
I just didn't want anybody to get,
And if everybody remembers, this is where we talked about, we had the borings done on this.
Yeah.
And everybody assumed that this was non-buildable land. The boring company Atlas gave a report here, I think, in redevelopment, or was it? Yeah, that, well, there is fill there, it is buildable. Some may need to be piered, some may not. So if the council wishes, then redevelopment would look into potentially developing some housing here on this.
Didn't you have a gentleman was looking into doing that already? Were you, I mean, I thought there was a guy looking to buy these lots and did do that.
No,
Okay.
it's gonna be a while, because I asked Anthony the other day when I saw this come through, the next step will be getting the deed prepared, and then we'll have to get with the company that did this, and we as a redevelopment have to decide, you know, how big the lots will be, what type of housing.
Restrictions.
So you'll have control over,
It'll be, yeah, it'll
Okay.
be a whole new, covenants and restrictions, but as we know right now with housing, it's, you know, it's going quick.
Yep.
And perhaps with us controlling this, and all the funds, any excess funds that redevelopment makes over and what our expenses are, will come back to council. But, you know, we are thinking on redevelopment was, you know, perhaps we can subsidize some of the sale of the lots, so the houses aren't, you know, gonna be I don't even know what a house nowadays, a new one gets built, it's probably no less than 400,000, I would guess. So,
So your plan would be to sell the lots individually, like,
and Ryan, we really haven't talked about it
Okay.
in redevelopment. I think our plan was hopefully to see what we want, you know, they could be 100-foot lots with side entrance garages. Maybe get a developer that would build them all within a certain timeline with, you know, all be this quality and a different thing like that. Because whoever the developer, they're gonna have to look at the Atlas report and say, this area's gonna need to be piered, this area's not.
Okay, so this is resolution 2025-12. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a first, do I have a second?
Second.
Can I get a first and second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay,
Just with the correction of the light coming out of there.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say, with the correction.
okay. All right. Okay, number 2, vehicles and equipment to Lutz's auctions.
That-
So,
This was my mistake. I didn't mean to put this on the council agenda.
well, I didn't, Board of Works already voted on it, but I'm gonna bring him up to speed in case they wanna go up there. July the 18th, Lutz's auction up in, Dover. Is that Dover or Logan? Logan.
Same difference.
Yeah, it's in Logan. You can see the list of stuff we took up there if anybody so desires to own any of this stuff. But it will go at auction and they will take care of all the advertising and keep us all fair and square with the State Board of Accounts, I assume. Is that who monitors all that, Anthony? So, okay. All right. Anybody else got anything?
I do, Ben.
Yes, sir.
Being at the 4th of July, the fishing derby, and just thinking about our discussion before about the gentleman who is homeless, and that's, you know, I'm fine with all of our decisions on that, or no decisions. But the more I thought about it, I really do think there was somebody had gotten prices of like $4,000, and I'm probably wrong on that dollar amount, to have the restrooms in Greendale parks, parks that have restrooms, automatically locked at 11 o'clock. I think we should do that. Has nothing to do with the gentleman. To me, I don't know why, we put a lot of money into restrooms and because of the parks and they look phenomenal. Things happen, I don't know if anything's happened lately, I don't know, but I just don't see a reason those should be open when the parks are closed. I think that's just asking the city police for a potential issue that we can solve with $4,000. I don't think the police should go lock them. I don't think they have time. And if we had the technology to do that, I feel strongly we should move forward with that.
Okay. Do we have an actual bid on the locks? Is that just off hearsay?
No, they were,
Something, I don't know who got them.
they were about just less than $1,000 each. And that's a pair. So.
You know
we-
that for sure.
What's that? Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, that's what they were. Yes,
Do we have 4?
we have 4 restrooms. I'm sure Linda would like to speak to this.
I am always of the opinion, if it's not broken, don't fix it. I don't see making an outlay of money on the come. I see always when you've got anything that is mechanical or digital, there's always the chance of it going wrong. What happens if somebody's in one of those bathrooms at 11 o'clock at night and it locks? We have our 2 bathrooms that we have frequent damage in, cameras, and the police department's been effective in cammering them.
On the outside of the bathrooms, right?
I just don't, I don't see spending money that you don't need to spend. And if anything you put in, and I know this as a parks person more than anybody, you install something, you have to take care of it. If you install a lock and it sits there and catches nobody, you still have to maintain that lock. So, my opinion would be, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Now, do we have an ordinance that states that, parks are open from 11 to 7? Is that in an ordinance?
We have
I
an
think it's the
ordinance.
other way
We
around.
have a closing time,
Yeah, we
but
have a
no, we
close-
have an
Oh,
opening.
I'm sorry,
Yes, you got the other way around.
sorry, but it's in an ordinance, is that correct?
Yes.
Why wouldn't we reflect the bathrooms to be part of that ordinance? They are in the park, so the
I'm
bathrooms
not
should.
saying we wouldn't, I'm just saying that there hasn't been a problem in those bathrooms that we haven't been able to solve without putting locks on the doors. The other side of that is, what time do you open them? We have runners on the streets, before daylight in Greendale. What time do you open them?
And
We
Linda, I
have
hear you say
paper
that
delivery people.
we haven't had any issues, but, and again, I don't like spending money, but I think, I think that, in my opinion, for $4,000, and again, I assume the police would be the ones maintaining these locks, lack of better term, I don't know, or if that's.
I don't think we would. If they're automatic, we wouldn't have anything to do with them.
I just think it's good preventative stuff, just because, one time, one of the restrooms would be damaged, and the cost would be a lot more than $4,000, in my opinion. But have we had any damage to restrooms over last year?
Over the last year, nothing to that extent.
Nothing to that amount, that we
Probably.
haven't collected.
No. Okay.
We've gotten recompense for any damage that's been done there, like you had one last week, didn't you, where kids threw toilet paper
Oh, no,
around?
yeah, but that was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, that's gonna happen. I read that the industry standard is that, in public parks is that, restrooms be open the times the parks are open, but they close at the time the parks close.
There's no opening time in our ordinance for parks that I know of, so it's a crapshoot. And let me say this, if this board decides that's what you wanna do, it does not become an expense of the Parks Department
Yes, ma'am.
to repair or maintain those locks.
It's fine.
And I want that on the record and
Yes.
remember.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Me too.
What do you guys,
Well, let's have some more discussion.
what do you guys think? Any thoughts, questions, concerns?
What time are you gonna open them?
Well, we
What time
talked
you
to
gonna
you
unlock?
guys, what time would be best. I'm talking about more in the, closing at 11, and then we discuss with the park board what time you think is best. to
how
open.
does the technology work? Does anyone know how these things
I
work?
do.
You do?
I do. So it's electro-powered magnet,
Okay,
all right? And it works above the door frame,
okay.
and it's on a timer. So at 11 o'clock, the magnet would energize and the door is locked.
So if someone's in there, you're stuck in there?
No,
What if the power goes
Go
out
out.
and you're in there?
well, okay, well, first of all, if power goes out, the door's gonna open.
Okay.
Because the magnet's off.
Okay.
But there is a hand swipe on the inside that'll let you out as well, so. And there's a hand swipe on the outside with a key code that Parks Board or the police would have to open it for them. And so what I think we should do, because we brought this back up, let me get the information to you all, and we'll think about it over the next month and give it some consideration, and then you guys can decide, all right?
Yeah,
I'll dig it
I'm
back
not gonna
up.
make any decisions without all the data, so
Okay.
that would be awesome.
Okay, can we table that then? You guys good?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's do that. All right, anybody got anything else? My list gets longer. Okay, all right. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Okay, got it first, do I have a second?
Second.
First and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.